Hi, everybody. My name is Alyssa Leon Bryant, and today we have a very special guest who I'm excited to introduce you to. But since this is our first In My Element conversation, I'll just give you a quick introduction of myself, why I'm even in this position of interviewing Miss Ashley here, and also what we're doing. So, as a quick aside, my career has been in the music and entertainment industry. I've had the honor of serving as the vice president of business at Quincy Jones Productions and have since started my own company, Alien Creative. And I've had wonderful opportunities to interview people like my favorite band, TLC, various film cast and musicians, and have done panels for South by Southwest, Fox, and more. And as much as I personally love having a career in the entertainment industry, dare I say I found something I love even more, and that would be aerial and specifically the people who do it. And I already did a full video breaking down how I found aerial and all the ways it changed my life on the Elemental Athletes YouTube channel. So I'm not going to bore you with those details again. But as someone who's worked in the entertainment industry, I've just noticed that there aren't really many platforms highlighting Aerialist and the incredible work that they do. So I thought I would just start one. And so you could check out the website Elemental Athletes for more information about this community driven platform. But as we kick off this interview series, we want listeners to know that aerialists are more than performers, they're people. And we're going to be pulling back the silk to discover their unique stories. And this series serves to highlight the various forms of aerial arts through the lens of international performers, instructors, competitors, and athletes. Each interview is going to be showcasing a different facet of the sport through a common love for the art. And as mentioned, we have the lovely Ashley with us here today. And quick hello before I go into your blurb. But hi, Ashley.
Hello, hello, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to be here with you. And Ashley Robinson is the founder of Flexi Fit and a Dallas-based aerialist and coach who helps people master their bodies and achieve their goals in the air, on the ground, and in life. She specializes in the coaching of competitors, those recovering from injury, as well as plus-size aerialists. She's got a bunch of certifications, which you can see on her website, but I love what she says on that website, and it said, in everyday life, I'm a coach, friend, and supporter who gets the struggle and wants to help others become the best versions of themselves. I'm dedicated to helping aerial athletes improve performance, build strength and endurance, and prevent injury while excelling in the air. So, Ashley, since this is our first chat, I want to dive straight into our warm-up questions. So, how
Do
did
it.
you first discover aerial and what kept you in it?
So I went to an open house. This was back in 2009. So I'm a dinosaur in this industry at this point. And there was an instructor that came in and she started stretching. And I was like, oh, she looks like me. And back then, you didn't have the diversity and inclusion that you have now and that representation. And so I was very surprised to see someone who looked like me, not just in skin color, but in size. And I was like, okay, let's see what this is about. And she just put on an amazing show. And I was like, when they asked us who wanted to sign up for membership, I was like, take my money. And I just never looked back. And I've just been doing it ever since. I keep doing it because there's always a challenge. There's always something new to learn.
Mhm.
I always discover something new about my body as my body continues to change from injuries, from getting better, from aging, and just like
Mhm.
life. I find that I have to consistently adapt and moves that I might have had before, depending on how my body is at that stage and phase in life. I have to figure out how to do that move or do it differently. And so there's always just something to learn. And my desire to get better and to teach myself and give myself the teaching and the support that I didn't have as a student because the industry was so young at that point. It wasn't as developed as it is now. I had to learn that. And so in me learning that, that's how I started teaching other people. And it's just like this consistent student teacher cycle that I'm stuck in, but I can't see myself doing anything else. I absolutely love it. It keeps me motivated, keeps me dedicated, and it allows me to help other people along the way.
I love that. And was there a specific point in time where you realized, oh, this is not just a hobby, like this is a business? Can you share a little bit more about that?
I don't know honestly when it became more, it sort of just happened. I guess they say opportunity comes knocking at the door and you just have to accept it. So I would say a big turning point was definitely when I started competing. I realized that staying at one studio wasn't going to help me be as well rounded as I wanted to be. So I started venturing out, and that's when I discovered, like, oh, there's more than one apparatus and there's more than one style. And I realized how much I didn't know and how much I wanted to absorb. And so it really just opened up my eyes to how much opportunity and potential is out there. And then I would say the other thing is just like my setbacks that I've had from injuries. So I call myself a professional beginner because I've had to restart my journey so
Mhm.
many times. And just through doing that and sharing my journey with other people, we started to have conversations. They wanted to know how I was doing it, what I could recommend, if I could help them. And so my struggle really just became my greatest tool. And I
Mhm.
started learning more about the body. I started certifying. And so, just again, my own quest for knowledge and my desire to fix myself put me in a position where I could help essentially fix other people. And there
Mhm.
were plenty of people that were just like, hey, I will take the help. And so it turned into a business.
Mhm. I love that. And I know you because you've told me personally you're dealing with an injury at this moment.
Yeah.
So, um, as a coach, how do you kind of reconcile that feeling of like I'm trying to help you, but I'm also at this point of like trying to help myself?
Honestly, at this point, being honest about it. It's just being honest and vulnerable. I don't try to act like I'm Superwoman. Um, I tell people how it feels. It sucks. I have a little, actually have a little like recovery diaries on Instagram on my page right now where I'm doing diary entries and just being honest about how I feel at that moment, whether I'm excited because I took my first steps or I'm jealous because I see someone running and I'm not able to run right now. But I think just coming to terms with this is my reality, and
Mhm.
hiding it doesn't help me, but it also doesn't help other people. I found that when we start to share with each other, we find out that we're not an island, we're not alone. And so me opening up with my team, my athletes is what I call them, let me understand like how powerful sharing is. And so I just share and I'm honest about it. And even though more times than not it really sucks, um it helps me to share with them and show them that I'm human. And the benefit from that is they trust me more and they lean
Mhm.
on me. And when they go through something, they know that I've got their back and that I've been there or I've been through something very similar. And so I can be that person in their corner to help them through it as well.
I love that, and I personally relate to it. You know, after I had my baby, it just was this point in time of my life, like, wow, I'm so excited, but also like there's this physical aspect that you have to recover from, and there are days where you have more time to train and less time to train. So it just depends on where you're at in your life, and I've come to accept that we're all just going through phases that
Yeah.
progress and regress. And so I love that term, a professional beginner, right? That's what you said, professional
Yes.
beginner. That's
Professional beginner. Yeah.
I love it. I'm gonna be using that as well. So, can you describe just what being in your element feels like when you're in the air, whether in a in flying pole or silks? Like, what does it feel like for you?
It is the perfect blend of like limitless but harmony. I feel like I get to use so much of, like, I was an athlete back in the day, and so I get to use a lot of those skills from cheerleading and gymnastics and soccer, but I get to challenge my body at the same time. And just being in the air, fighting gravity and seeing your body do things that it probably really shouldn't do, but it's really cool that I can twist and contort and use my strength to hold myself up there. Um, it feels, it feels powerful.
Hmm.
Powerful, but very, like I said, harmonious at the same time. And the only limit is myself and the limits I put on myself and my creativity at that moment in time.
Hmm. I love that. So, shifting over into some of our more grounding questions, a lot of people chase, you know, physical flexibility, but what does mental flexibility mean to you?
Oh, I love that question. So let me go back a little bit. So when I got serious about my business and I decided on the name Flexi Fit, it wasn't necessarily about being like physically flexible and like aesthetically fit. It was about how I have to be flexible and fit in life. And so I came up with like the Flexi Fit ideal is what I call it. And it's really just about being agile in life and being flexible and able to adapt to whatever situations come my way, but being strong enough in myself as a person, as a woman, as a wife, as a coach, as a business owner to like get the ish done,
Mhm.
and to advocate for myself. And so that is what I live by, and that is what Flexi Fit is. And that is what my business is, and that is what I teach people. And so I tell people the hardest thing to change is the mind. But if I can change your body, then it helps you change your mind. So if I can show someone that, yes, you can be strong. Yes, you can do this move that you didn't think you could do. Yes, we can achieve these splits, or even something as simple as, let me reach behind my back and touch my fingers, and they can do that. Then it changes their mind and their perspective on what they can do. And as that body starts to change, that trickles down into the rest of your life. And so I've seen people just from the way their body changes and how that empowers them, they take that into their work, into their relationships, and all of a sudden they're this new version of themselves that takes them just a step higher and a level higher and has them doing things that they might not have done before, might not have thought that they could do.
Mhm.
And that's what it's all about for me. And hopefully I answered your question because I just got
That
really
was
excited.
perfect. No, that was absolutely perfect. And I mean, diving a little deeper specifically into the conditioning side of things, is there a specific move or something that you were fighting to get and it just took you over and over and over, but you finally did it? And if so, what did it teach you?
Oh man, I honestly, it's every move I've ever done is the answer to that question. But I will say the move that like was that defining moment for me was an aerial invert. And that was because in my mind, I had an invert on the ground. So I should be able to do it in the air, right? It's the
Hmm.
same thing. It's
Easy,
not
right?
the same thing. And when you cheat it on the ground, even if you don't think that you're cheating, when you're lifting off the ground, there is a little bit of push because you have something hard that you're leaving. Um, it's not the same. And so I had to teach myself how to invert again and invert the right way, making sure that I wasn't kicking, I was deadlifting, I was engaging everything. So I had to retrain myself on the ground before I could ever achieve it in the air. And that's what got me started on, I guess, my teaching journey is having to teach myself that. And that's when I realized that there was so much more to not just that move, but every move and how important foundations are and
Mhm.
mastering your foundations and really mastering moves in general. I think so many times in this industry, we are so excited to make that post, make that video, try that next thing, throw it in a combo or a performance. We don't actually master the thing. And that makes it hard to build upon or call upon it and integrate it into something. And so just going after that aerial invert, I think really changed the trajectory of my career in this industry, but my career in corporate America as well.
That's great. And speaking of flying and inversions and all that fun stuff, moving on to our inversion section of questions, was there a moment in your life when everything inverted or basically just turned upside down, ultimately changing you for the better?
I think that happens all the time. There's not one time. I would say every injury does that to me. It makes me reevaluate where my body is, learning to appreciate what I can do at that moment, focusing on what I'm able to do versus what I'm not able to do. It often changes the way that I teach because it changes the way that I train. And so maybe I'm not able to stand up and spot my athletes. So
Mhm.
I'm in a rolly chair and I'm coming through and spotting them, or I'm shifting my weight to one foot. And so it comes back to that whole Flexi Fit thing where I just have to be agile. And so I've learned to just kind of roll with it, but everything has an impact. And I think it's just embracing all of those little small impacts, and they're still impactful, but I'm less affected by them in a sense. I don't react
Mhm.
emotionally to them the way that I used to because I know it's just the ebb and flow of life and there's always going to be something.
Mhm. Makes sense. And, thinking about how to connect your body and your mindset and all these different components of ourselves, how do you personally help other people reconnect when maybe they've just learned to ignore or push through discomfort?
We talk about it, lots of conversations. um a lot, like in really truthful conversations, like pain is not normal. Let's just put that out there. Pain is not normal. I think in circus and aerial, we have this thing where we're like, just push through, push past, no pain, no gain. And they're really nice sound bites. They sound great, but they're very detrimental to the body. And that's when people can get really, really hurt. And not everyone has that ability to bounce back. Not everyone has that support system or even like the educational knowledge and background that I have. And so those little things that we say that sound cool can really be hurtful more than they're helpful. And so just pointing that out and being honest about that and not falling into that soundbite culture. And then showing them a better way to do it. So
Mhm.
even with my private sessions that I do, we do our warm-ups, but I make all of my clients do soft tissue care. So we always do rolling, and it's just part of their session. And I'll even sit down and do it with them. Or if I'm going through something like right now, I broke my foot. So as they're doing their warm-up, I'm sitting there rolling my foot, and they can see that I'm doing it. I have to lead by example, and then I have to integrate that into their regular workouts so it becomes part of their programming. And then when they're on their own, if they have a pain or they have a twinge, they're like, oh, Ashley showed me this thing that I can do. I don't have to feel like this. Or, I feel
Mhm.
like this, but I don't know what to do. And then they'll text me. And I'm like, hey, that's what I'm here for. I'm not just your coach during your session. I am this resource that you have access to 24/7. Or even I have one Ashley who, we do our rolling in sessions, and her boyfriend was like, man, I have this pain. She's like, here, take my peanut, try this out. He's like, well, what is this? So she teaches him what she's learned so far. He's like, man, this is awesome. So he takes his peanut to work to use it at work, and people in the office are like, what is that? So he starts telling them what it is and letting them use it. Now everyone in his office has one. And that's just from me teaching my athlete to roll in her sessions. And now you have an office full of office workers that have this tool to help with their pain.
Oh, that's great. And I'll pause real quick because I heard you say athlete, right?
Yes,
Not
yes.
athlete. I love that.
Athletes, yes.
Can you elaborate on that a bit more? Where did that come from? Obviously, your name is Ashley, but we want to know.
Honestly, I am really, really corny. I always tell people words and colors are my jam. So I live life at the intersection of my two passions, which is dangling in the air. So that's me performing and coaching and training. But also I have this creative business side of me where I put my formal education and my degrees to use. And so I do creative business work and consulting for people, mostly in the wellness, health, and circus industry. And so it was just corny. It was just like, athletes. I kind of like that. Let's try this out. And everyone loved it. And so it's literally like a piece of me that sticks to all of my clients wherever they go. And it's just catchy. But yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
make
great.
words up all the time in my training sessions, and we love it.
Well, it sticks for sure. And speaking of social media and all that fun stuff, like you were mentioning a second ago, how do you feel social media is helping or hurting aerialists?
Ooh. Man, I think it's like the internet in general. If you use it with the right intentions and the right you put in the right things and you want the right things out of it, it's wonderful. But if you're using it for the wrong reasons, then it's detrimental. So it's great for inspiration. It's great for idea generation as well. It's great for promotion and marketing and all of those things. But then you have that piece of it that just leads to comparison, which is not good. They say it's the thief of all joy, and it can really leave you feeling behind or in a rut or not enough at times. Um, some people use it to teach, which isn't not necessarily a bad thing. I have my own personal feelings about teaching online, but I think when we just throw videos out there and you don't know anything about the end user, they're just trying to do whatever they can to get to where they want to be, and it might not be the best thing for their bodies at that time. And so the lack of customization on the user end of what they're intaking can be a little dangerous. And so I kind of recognize those pitfalls. And so it's the best of both worlds.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I do love the fact that, we can go on social media and find a sequence from someone else. And it's so cool, quite frankly, to see like other people's work and then also use it for yourself, like if you're doing it for your class. But then I've heard a lot of people saying, well, this person's using my choreography and they're not crediting me. And it's just, there's always going to be some problems with the internet, quite frankly, like you mentioned. So I think it's on every single person to just do their part of, properly crediting people and making sure we have proper disclaimers when we're teaching, because like you said, we don't know the end user and if they've ever done aerial or not. So just things to be mindful of.
Yeah, it's
Um,
definitely a very beautiful yet imperfect solution.
exactly, exactly. And, speaking of just Aerial as a whole and all the different formats of how you share it. I want to talk to you a little bit more about your thoughts on Aerial as a sport versus an art, or sport and art, or art just sport. Like what are your feelings and thoughts about that? Because I know you compete. World is coming up. Can you just share a little bit more about your feelings on all of it?
Yes. As beautiful as it is and can be, it's absolutely an art, but it's just as much a sport, if not more. The things that other athletes go through when it comes to flexibility, strength training, mobility, injuries, rehab, prehab, soft tissue care, mental toughness, progressions, periodization. We go through all of those things, whether we're on a training plan, whether you train with a coach or professional, we are all going through those same cycles. And even if you are someone who looks at this as an art, you look at it as just an exercise, or even some people are like, this is my therapy. It is still a form of movement. You are still moving the body, you are still moving the muscles, and how you move your muscles and respect or don't respect your body's abilities can impact how your body is able to move in the future. And that's what makes it a sport. And so, regardless of how you view it or how someone wants to label it, we have to respect the fact that it is a sport. And the best thing for us to do is to treat it as such and take care of our bodies as an athlete, whether you do it as an art, a sport, or a therapy.
That's great. I'm also keeping myself on mute because it is raining and there's thunder and light. It's very loud, so hopefully you can't hear it.
Okay. No, I can't hear it. You're totally all right.
Okay, great. No, that makes complete sense. And, specifically, I think the biggest thing that I've been hearing is it is a performance art, right? And then on the other hand, people say, no, it's a sport. But I love what you said. It doesn't really matter how you look at it. When you do it, you're exercising your muscles, you're utilizing them in such a way, you're pushing yourself to your limits in uh the way that you would do with any sport, right? So you got to take care of your body. So it doesn't matter if you yourself are competing, you have to take care of your body. And that is, I think that's the biggest takeaway for me personally. And speaking of bodies, I know you've talked about yourself as being an every body coach. So can you just elaborate on that and how you came to that conclusion?
Yeah, I came to that conclusion again just based off of my own struggles with my body. I will say right now it's become a bit of a buzzword that is used for marketing purposes, which I have a love-hate relationship with. It's great, but when I started it in the way that I write it out, which is lowercase everybody capital or lowercase every capital body, it wasn't to say that I train every person in the world, but it's that I train everybody. And it's not that I train them, it's that I'm dedicating myself to learning a person's body and what it is that they're going through so that I can help them. And the reason I got to that point was again, my body has been like through so many changes. If you've seen me over the years, I've been big for me, I've been small for me, whatever big and small is for a person, for me, I've been those. I've had numerous injuries, none of them that really have anything to do with aerial. It's just every day I'm a klutz and weird things happen to me. And so around my body fluctuating in size, around my injuries, around even just getting stronger and getting more flexible, every time my body has changed or has gone through something, I've had to relearn how to move on each apparatus that I do. When you think about the body, everybody's body needs a different amount of space and compression to do any trick on any apparatus. And so understanding the compression that you need at 158, which is where I've been, is different than the compression that I need when I'm doing something at 250. And I've been there and I've been higher than there. And so just having to relearn my body and having to relearn movements that I thought I had mastered but only knowing that I've mastered it in one body. And now that I'm in this new body of mine, I have to remaster it. And that's when I realized that we say it all the time, one size doesn't fit all. And it really does it when it comes to teaching. And so I've had to get really creative with my teaching, from how I explain things to how I do drills to recognizing. I tell people all the time, tricks discriminate. Not every trick was made for everybody. So it's understanding what tricks speak to your body, to your movement, and even your movement style and preferences. Sometimes it's like, I just don't like the way that feels. It's not that you're not able to do it. I don't like the way that it feels, and I really don't love the way that it looks on me.
Hmm.
And so coming to terms with my bodily changes and what that meant for me to continue progressing in this sport and in this industry, I was like, well, if this is impacting me, this is definitely impacting everyone else. And so, whether I'm working with a client that it has an extra toe, which I've done, clients that have cerebral palsy, knee, fat impingements, you name it, I've worked with all sorts of people, plus size athletes, even people that are underweight have their own set of struggles. And so, it is just everybody is my dedication to meeting the athlete where they're at with their bodies at that point in time and learning their bodies, their strengths and their weaknesses, and helping build them up to get them to where they want to be.
That's great. And as we sort of shift into our cool down, related to working with everybody, what's one piece of advice that you would give to someone who is really just starting their movement journey, but they may feel intimidated?
Go slow. Definitely go slow. There's no specific speed to this, and everything that we do is made up. It's all made up. So it find a version of it that works for you.
That's great. And what is your elemental takeaway for today? Specifically, what's one piece of wisdom that you've gained from the air that you carry into your everyday life that might be helpful to anyone listening?
Oh man. Definitely the only limit in life is yourself. When you tell yourself you can't do something, which that's a bad word on my team, we're not allowed to say the C word. So my athletes, they don't even like, they're so trained not to say it. They don't even say it in their everyday life. I tell them, find another word. And so if they say it, they slip up on the spot. I say, pick another word. And so they'll say, I'm not able to yet. I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. There's always a way to get to where you want to be. You just have to find out what that recipe and pathway is for you.
That's wonderful. And before we officially close things out, is there anything that you personally would like to share, or any way that whoever's watching can help you, support you, maybe find you if they want your services, anything at all?
I tell people they can stalk me on Instagram. I am Entertainment Goddess. That's because I used to work in the entertainment industry as well, and I just never changed it. It kind of stuck. You can also visit me online at flexifit.co. There's no M, it's .co. Check out Slay the Stage. That is our local community show. And I tell people I love to talk, so just give me a shout. I'll always respond. It's usually in the middle of the night. I'm nocturnal. But yeah, I love to chat. I love to share. And if there's something that I can do to help someone, encourage them, support them, I will always do that.
Thank you so much, Ashley. And just to give a quick disclaimer to anybody watching, Ashley is on our advisory board for elemental athletes, and she's been absolutely wonderful I've been super inspired by her and the conversations we've had. So that's why I was like, man, I just want to talk to Ashley for this first one. But I am excited to share that Ashley will also be interviewing other people in future episodes of the series. So keep an eye out for those as well. And last but not least, we have a petition that is currently going on right now. If you have not heard about it, we're really just working to do exactly what we were talking about earlier, and that's support athletes as a whole, right? And by doing that, we are working on getting more attention, more screen time. And again, I come from the entertainment industry, so that's kind of my background. So I'm focusing on just really highlighting these people, their stories, everything that they work for, right? This is the livelihood of a lot of people. A lot of people look at aerial and think, "Oh, it's such a cool sport or an art," but there's also a whole group of people who do this for their livelihood, right? So I don't do that. I don't compete. I'm not great at like a lot of the stuff that Ashley's great at, and I'm not here to compare, but I'm just here to show this isn't for me. This isn't so I can be on ESPN one day because I don't compete. I just have seen what these athletes put their bodies through, and nobody is giving them attention. And that doesn't sit well with me. So we're working to change that. Head on over to elementalathletes.com to help sign that petition, and specifically to get competitive aerial on ESPN and beyond. So thank you for watching, and thank you, Ashley, so much for your time. It's always a pleasure to chat with you.
Yes, thank you, Alyssa.